Hey, it's Slater. Thanks so much for watching. Things you need to know as Walt Disney World reopens. Pretty exciting to be a part of not only it opening, but everything you can see. Still waiting. I'm a huge fan of, on the left, you can see the Tower of Terror sign. The cart's not moving. Hasn't been moving in quite some time. Was kind of sad about that. As you enter Magic Kingdom, though, you really can't be sad that it's finally back open so we can enjoy it together. The smiles on the faces. Thank you so much. Well, maybe my face anyway. Also want to show the buses on the right. These are all the buses that aren't being used right now. I imagine in the next couple weeks they will be back out there on the road. And also social distancing the parking, so that way you got time to get out of your car.
Hey, it's Slater. So yeah, just parked my car and we're gonna be headed into Magic Kingdom. It's been shut down for over 100 days because of the pandemic. Thanks so much for watching. So the procedures that they have, also the rides and how everything's going, we'll give you all of that right here.
Including the fact that the trams right now not going, which means no matter what, if it's raining, you name it, you'll be stuck walking, as my wife and I were. Had to make sure we remember where we parked though. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome back is a big thing that you'll hear all over Walt Disney World, Walt Disney World Resort. Our friends at Advent Health are actually doing the temperature screenings again. As you know, 100.4. If it's that or above, they will not let you into the parks. Also have to make sure you have a face mask on the entire time. Even the sit-down rides, you think, oh, I can get away with it. They'll actually stop the ride and tell you that you have to put it on. They want to make sure that you're safe. Very important, the most important for them. Does anybody else get chills when you walk through, not only security, but see the monorail back open and the ferry, which we ended up taking because there was a bit of a delay? And maybe one of my favorite things through all this is all of the workers keep you so safe that not only having face masks on, but also a lot of them shields to make sure that everybody's good. And I want to speed this up as we get on to the ferry. You can see Grand Floridian, Polynesian, and see those dots on the ground? I'll pan a little down so you can see. So those dots, that's where you stand. Those are 6 feet apart. So there is a way that they can make sure that the ferry does not get overloaded. And they do the exact same thing on the monorail. And I'll show you later. As we get off, they didn't tell everybody to get off at separate times. They pretty much just opened the gate, as you would imagine, going through. You know, if you are too close to somebody else, I will tell you, the workers will make sure that you distance. And they'll say, please watch the people around you, as you'll hear in a second, to make sure that people had their face masks on. I have one of the cast members on the left-hand side.
Thank you. Look back.
And as we're here, as long as you make a reservation, this process very, very easy. So much so that there's no more fingerprinting. They do it very differently because they want to make sure that any of the germs that people might have stay with them. You'll always see the sanitizing all around. And this is one of my favorite parts. The princesses and the fairy godmother all decided to come out, and that's how they're doing a lot of their meet and greets. They just show up at places and you can take a picture from afar. As you can see, people down below actually just snapping pictures, and they were out there for like 15-20 minutes. So it was solid, and this one of the best shots in the entire park that you can still get. And since it's 30% capacity, one of the positives of the 30% capacity is you'll actually be able to take your time taking your pictures and not feeling rushed. You have to look at the positives of what this is throwing our way. You know, we can complain that we have to wear face masks and overheat, or the fact that the lines will be a heck of a lot less because fast passes are not a thing as Walt Disney World reopens. So you can see signs everywhere on the trash cans, and when it was raining, there were not photographers out. You'll see a little bit later that does change. But this is something that's brand new. Doors that say exit only, which means you cannot go in those doors. Also the entrance only doors. Those ones you can only go in, you cannot go out. So that's how they're making sure that you go the right way. There's also some of the stores that are not open. You can see a full list of those as well. You can hear the music of the parade that's going on. We'll give you a little bit of that too so you can see. A lot of people thought parades would not be a thing. They wouldn't exist. Not true. They're just really, really tiny parades. Goofy. This, I think, a parade that they really only do when it's raining. You see them in their rain gear. Goofy son Max and friends. So it's pretty cool that they're doing it a little different. I want to call it a pandemic parade, you know, a lot smaller than you would ever see in the past. Another shot of the castle, Cinderella Castle, just repainted, redone. I'll be honest, it took me a minute. The first time I saw it, I was a little bummed out, thinking they shut down for 120 days, repainted. It's a brand new place. And in a lot of ways it is, let's be honest. I have to take a selfie, please bear with me. And like I said, a little bit later you'll see that photographers did come out, so I think it was just because of the rain. I do want to get you a closer look inside Cinderella Castle, and walking underneath, see the paint job that everyone was stopping, taking pictures. This was something that very easily you could see, even at 30% capacity, them probably having to figure out a way to organize people taking pictures and everything else. And it does seem like they had their head on straight of asking people, hey, can you move along, or can you move this way or that way, to keep it safe, keep everything moving so that way it doesn't bottleneck and they don't run into any issues. One of everyone's favorite parts of the castle, the mosaics on the inside. You'll see just as they always have been, even though the new paint job on the outside, they're still as mesmerizing on the inside. And as you walk through the castle, something that was very popular right over here, you can see, is where the princesses' meet and greets usually are. They are not actually happening right now, and they do not know when it's going to start back up. We did ride some rides, Peter Pan's Flight, even though this was on a pass holder preview, that when we came in, they still are going to have a lot less capacity. The lines are going to be nothing compared to what they used to. And you can see on the ground, making sure that wherever you are, you're 6 feet apart from the person in front of you. And they'll tell you, if you're looking at your phone, they'll tell you, off we go. Oh, sanitize. Always make sure to do that. I do before and after on it. The Haunted Mansion was a ride that I really wanted to go on, because if you've been on the ride before, you know the room that they don't know if the floor is dropping or the ceiling's rising. How are they going to deal with that? And how are they going to deal with this? What you're looking at, usually you touch those instruments and they will make sounds. They will make different noises, like the instrument you're touching. They did have it kind of sectioned off. You can go touch it if you want, but they're trying to keep people away from doing that. So that way, again, the germs won't be passed that way. You still can, but they're advising against it. And I imagine if you went over and stayed there too long, they would tell you not to. So as you're walking in, they're advising people. As you can tell just by looking at it, it's a bit dark. I apologize for that, but it's different in that you will not be shut in that room. The doors aren't going to shut. You used to be really crammed in. Now, as you walk through, you're still 6 feet apart from the person in front of you.
Foolish mortals.
And here,
Haunted mansion.
it's not shut in.
There's no turning back now.
So a lot of people are upset about that, myself included, but I totally understand. Because usually there's a heck of a bottlenecking that goes on. And so when they load you into the car at Haunted Mansion, they actually distance you from the car next to you, so it's every other that you'll be loaded in. And that's Chip and Dale being socially distanced, waving, doing meet and greets, the Tom Sawyer ride that allows you to get over to the island. You can socially distance and actually take pictures with them. So there's just another character out of the many that while we were here for 4 hours we got to see, including another parade. So honestly, if you think about it, if you add all of the parades, the 2 that you now have already seen, and then there'll be another one that I was able to catch. If you add all those up, it's kind of like half of a regular parade anyway. So you're not going to be missing that for the people that are worried. And this is pretty cool. So this, which usually Golden Oak Outpost, now is transformed into a relaxation station. This is an Adventureland, so you can go, you can hang out, and you can have your face mask off. Okay, so as you can see, just one of the areas where people are complaining about face masks being on all the time, they don't have to be over there, as well as when you're eating. I wanted to see what Pirates of the Caribbean did, because on this boat ride in particular, they usually, it's one row after the other after the other. And I was curious, oh, sanitize, yeah, gotta make sure you do it. And as you're loading in, how are they going to do it? How are they going to keep the 6 feet and not have the line be absolutely ridiculous? And as you can see, they're only loading in sometimes one group at a time, others 2 groups in there. So there's at least 2 rows in between every single party, and I imagine that there will be, this is one of my favorite rides, so I did put a couple clips in, so that way you can see it.
Now, you scurvy scoundrels, do I hear 10? A hen for a 10!
10? I'll give you 20 for the rod.
Pipe down, you little...
Good old Jack Sparrow. And one of the most, I would say, memorable gift shops within Disney, as you can see, they're making sure as well that they have that shield blocking off the cashiers, trying to do where if you're making a payment, you're not actually touching. You'll see some of the stores that are not open, how the garbage can is taped open, so that way you don't have to actually touch it when you're throwing trash away, which is pretty smart. A lot of different parks and businesses are doing that. and into Tomorrowland. As you can see, the photographers are back out, so they are taking pictures. And this, right now in Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom, the Laugh Floor, Monsters Inc., the only ride that is not going right now. But in Tomorrowland, there are a total of 3 items, 3 things that you cannot do. You cannot actually play with the globe anymore. They're asking you not to do that. So Laugh Floor is 2, and is there something that I wanted to show you in particular within Space Mountain that is no longer going. And people are upset about this. It's something that I know myself and my wife, we didn't even think that this would be a thing until we actually walked in and realized what was missing within Space Mountain. That was upsetting. You remember, usually you walk through here. This is where the lines are, usually really long, but it's cool because there's AC. Well, within Space Mountain, they have the old school video games that you can hit. And as you see, the remotes for those are gone. They're no longer there. It's like they never existed. So now there's screens, but the games are gone. So when the lines do pick up, it's not going to be something you're going to be able to play with. But as you get on, there's usually 6 people to cart, 3 and then 3. And you can see there's a heck of a lot of empty seats. And it's not because there's not a lot of people here. It's because they're making sure that they distance. My wife Ashley and myself having a good time, that's for sure. And as we exit, if you haven't been in a while, you might say, where's the moving walkway? They got rid of that a couple of years ago now. So as we're still in Tomorrowland, I thought this was really cool. A out of this world guest on the left hand side. Who is it? That's our buddy Stitch. So Stitch doing social distance pictures that you can take with him. Wanted to make sure that I grabbed one for myself as well. And they do have wash stations around the park, so you can make sure if sanitizing's not everything you want it to be, you can actually wash your hands with water and soap and dry off in between rides or whenever you feel like the time is right to do that. Originally, it sounded like Carousel of Progress was not going to be going because how can they wipe down the seats on a ride that is always moving? Like, how is that possible? And I wanted to show you how they're doing it. Again, these are just some of the rides. Oh, sanitize. You can never do it too much. So they're blocking off rows, as you can see, and taking a step further, actually blocking seats in each row off as well.
It's a dream come true for you and me. So there's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow just a dream away.
It's kind of impossible not to sing along, right? Absolutely love that. So that's Tomorrowland, a tour around the parks. And as we walk out, there was one more tree that was towards the exit that I want to show you. Really, a beautiful view if you want an up close and personal view of Cinderella Castle. I would say definitely now is the time. So some of the stores and restaurants that will not be opening, you can definitely check that out, which ones they're saying right now. When you're looking to make a reservation, they're doing work right there, and I like that they put a backdrop of what the front looks like, so that way it still keeps that magic. And as we get ready to exit the park, another mini parade with Tinkerbell. decided to take the monorail out to show you the difference between the ferry and the monorail. See how they have that middle section blocked off to keep 6 feet in between everybody, because at the end of the night it does get crazy busy. Also, they have numbers on the ground. They tell you which number to stand on, so you know, waiting for the monorail, where to be and to make sure that you're 6 feet apart. Something that is very smart. Just want to give props not only to Disney, but all the parks that are actually making sure to make safety the #1 priority, with so many people on the fence saying, you know, I think I'm going to wait. It's going to be too crazy right now. It's going to be too busy. It'll never be busier than 30%. So as we walk through the parking lot, the only issue that I found, I just wanted to highlight, and this isn't a knock on Disney, it's this area right here as you are walking out. That's only about 6 feet across, and they don't have a separate exit for where you walk from where people walk in. So it is a little bit tight there and tough to avoid.
So what'd you think, huh? Pretty cool? Yeah, some of the things that we picked up on, and again, I'm away from everybody, that's why face mask right here, is everybody really had their face masks on the entire time. Even during Carousel of Progress, I didn't hear a special announcement saying you had to keep your mask on. People just knew, which is nice. Also, the 6 foot was around everything, so you didn't have to worry about that social distance wise. Things that weren't open, you'll notice some shops not open. Also those meet and greets, and they did it social distance wise so you could see the different characters but couldn't go up and hug them. Took a picture with Stitch, as you saw. Some of the real positives, there's going to be a heck of a lot less lines with only 30% capacity, what they're saying right now. And I imagine by looking at the feed, there's a lot of people that aren't even going to be coming out as far as that goes. If you have any comments, any questions you want to post below, feel free to do that. If you're watching on YouTube at Slater Did What, thank you for watching, subscribing if you are. That way I can keep putting out some of these videos for you. And if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, Slater Did What on YouTube, I do these all the time. And it's very important to stay safe through all this. So that's what we're trying to do. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic summer no matter what it looks like.